These paints are a game changer. Hey guys, Nico here, and for this video we are gonna be reviewing the long-awaited lacquer paint line of Hiro paints. So let me start by saying I've been loyal to acrylic paints for years. They're great, versatile, and have served me well for many projects. But Hiro's lacquer paints, they totally changed my mind, and here's why. So Hiro is a paint brand from the Philippines that launched 2 years ago. But ever since then, they have released hundreds of high-quality products at a reasonable price. So my older videos have all been about their water-based acrylic paints, but this time we're focusing on their lacquer paints. So last June, Hiro pre-launched PLAS or Primerless Lacquer Acrylic series at Toycon, and we immediately grabbed a couple to test out and see if I would actually prefer lacquer over acrylics, which I'm used to. So the only reason why you have never seen me paint with lacquers before is simply because I cannot stand the smell of it, even with a gas mask or a painting mask. So why am I suddenly talking about lacquer paints? Well, when they first introduced PLAS to me, I found that the smell was actually quite tolerable. In fact, it reminds me of a kid's cologne. So with that issue out of the way, I found myself being more open to trying out lacquer paints, so much so that it's actually what I used to paint my entry for this year's GBWC. So I have the most experience painting with acrylics, but shockingly, I enjoy painting with Hiro's lacquer paints, and I'll tell you why. First off, the smell. Lacquer paints are notorious for having a strong, sometimes unbearable smell. But Hiro's lacquer paints are different. The scent is actually tolerable. It's almost like a light kid's cologne. It's not overwhelming at all. I was really surprised when I first opened the bottle. So another thing that I liked about Hiro's lacquer paints is the fact that you can use it with or without primer. The paints are durable even without primer. Because of GBWC's tight deadline this year, I had to do everything faster. I had to build faster, customize faster, and paint faster. That is another reason why I decided to switch to Hiro's lacquer paints for this year's GBWC entry, because I knew that they were easier to airbrush. And they did not let me down. Hiro's lacquer paints are perfectly thin for airbrush use. Just shake the bottle, pour directly into the airbrush cup, and paint away. So this paint come in 3 sizes, a 30 ml, 60 ml, with the biggest size being 100 ml. So for auxiliaries like the primers and the thinners, I recommend getting the 100 mls. While for the accent colors like the yellows, the blues, and the reds, or the metallics, you can get away with getting the 30 mls. However, I'm pretty sure you will love Hiro's lacquer paints, so just get the 60 mls. Now let's talk about how you can airbrush Hiro's lacquer paints. I have never airbrushed with lacquers before, so I was pleasantly surprised that I totally enjoyed the painting experience. First, let's talk about what you'll need. Of course, we've got our Hiro's lacquer paints, which are perfect for airbrushing thanks to their consistency and ease of use. Of course, you also need an airbrush and a compressor. Thinner, either Hiro's recommended lacquer thinner or another lacquer compatible option. And as always, safety first. Make sure you're working in a well-ventilated area, preferably with a spray booth, and wear gloves and a mask. Now let's get into the actual process. Lacquer paints usually need to be thinned before you use them in an airbrush, but Hiro lacquer paints are already pre-thinned for airbrush use. However, adding a little bit of thinner to the already pre-thinned PLAS can improve performance in certain situations. Aside from the standard 44 colors, they also offer 15 metallic, 8 fluorescent, 12 clear paints, 22 military colors, 13 matte metallics, 7 color shifts, and 10 premium metallics. Basically, they have everything. Now, for the actual airbrushing, there's really not much to teach since it's very beginner friendly and the learning curve is basically non-existent. Just set your compressor pressure at around 15 to 20 psi, shake the bottle, pour it into the airbrush cup, and just spray away. When airbrushing, it's important to hold the airbrush a couple inches away from the surface and apply the paint in light, even coats. Don't try to cover everything in one pass. Build it up gradually to avoid pulling or streaks. Hiro's lacquer paints go on beautifully smooth and they dry fairly quickly, which makes layering easy. As I've mentioned, PLAS stands for Primerless Lacquer Acrylic Series, meaning you can use it without primer. Now, why is this beneficial? Well, for starters, it saves you a ton of time. You can skip the priming step, which reduces overall preparation time, making the process faster, especially for quick projects. PLAS is already wallet-friendly, but not having to buy a separate primer saves money too. PLAS work directly on surfaces without needing an additional product, which lowers the overall cost of materials, meaning you can save up to buy another MG or another PG even. PLAS are formulated to bond well to a variety of surfaces without needing a primer, even on PE, PPE, and even stainless steel. The paint grips firmly without a base coat, which is pretty awesome. For beginners or those who want a more straightforward process, skipping the priming stage also makes painting more accessible. Fewer steps means less complexity. And lastly, these paints offer solid opacity and coverage even on bare surfaces, so you don't need to worry about the underlying material showing through, reducing the need for extra layers. Personally though, I would still recommend using a primer. Here's why. Durability. This is something that I think is quite important for Gunpla modelers. While Hiro's paints are strong, using a primer underneath creates a more robust and long-lasting bond, especially on high-wear surfaces, like armor parts near joints or the feet. This extra layer increases resistance to chipping, scratching, and damage. Next is the fact that primers help to smooth out imperfections on the surface, creating an even base. This results in a smoother, more professional finish when the lacquer is applied. Lastly, primers provide a neutral base, ensuring that the final color appears more vibrant and true to the paint's intended shade. This is particularly useful when working with lighter or brighter colors. PLAS, being primerless, is fantastic for saving time, money, and simplifying the painting process while still delivering excellent adhesion and coverage. However, for enhanced durability and smoother finishes, I would still highly recommend using a primer. What really impressed me with Hiro's Lacquers is how airbrush friendly they are. The patented formula means less prep time, and you can fine-tune the consistency with just a bit of extra thinner if needed. The paint sprays on beautifully, giving you consistent coverage all throughout, which is crucial for those larger surfaces on Gunpla kits. And of course, for those worried about that typical strong lacquer odor, Hiro's formula is surprisingly tolerable, making longer sessions in the workshop much more comfortable. Now, a quick note on cleaning. This is super important with lacquer paints. You'll want to clean your airbrush immediately after you're done, and of course in between paint changes. Flush the airbrush with lacquer thinner and use small brushes or cotton swabs to get rid of any leftover paint inside the nozzle and cup. Proper cleaning ensures that your airbrush stays in top condition for your next project. As you can see, the results speak for themselves. After a few light coats, you get a really smooth, vibrant finish that looks professional. That's one of the reasons I love Hiro's lacquer paints. They give you that flawless look with very little effort. Hiro's PLAS have quickly become a game changer, especially for Gunpla modelers. They're a fantastic addition to the market, offering top-tier performance at an affordable price point. Whether you're a seasoned builder or just getting started, these paints deliver in all the areas that matter: vibrant colors, smooth finishes, and excellent coverage. The primerless formula is also a huge plus for quick projects, but if you're going for extra durability, especially on joints or high-touch areas, adding a primer underneath still makes a difference. So overall, if you're serious about taking your Gunpla projects to the next level, Hiro's lacquer paints are absolutely worth trying. They offer the performance, flexibility, and affordability we need to bring our kits to life, whether you're working on a casual build or a contest entry. For me, they become a go-to choice and I cannot recommend them enough. If you're looking to step up your Gunpla game, give Hiro's Lacquers a shot. You won't be disappointed. I'm very confident that my entry for this year's GBWC is my best painting yet because of Hiro's lacquer paint. Given the money, I would give away complete sets of the Hiro lacquer paints, but I don't have the money, so just buy your own. Moving forward, I would definitely be making a lot of painting tutorials with Hiro's lacquer paints, so do subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed watching and I'll see you soon in the next one. Bye!